YouTube, just wanted to make a quick video explaining a couple customs that I've built and also some of the things that I've learned along the process. So some of you might not really remember this car, but this is really one of the first customs I did, and it was a design by TA Restorations, I believe his YouTube channel is, and it was something I just kind of wanted to try. So this is the front end of the RV there yet, and then this is off of the head starter. And what I did is basically cut them in half and conjoined the two, and then it made one vehicle. And I glued that little dude in there, detailed it up a little bit. The front runners were already chrome. These I just had to hit with a silver Sharpie. A little red in the headers right there, and in the exhaust right there. So pretty cool little custom. Hit the front headlights as well. But some of the things that I've learned, I think I might have glued these axles in the rear. And even with gluing the axles to the base, sometimes it makes for a strange rolling resistance for the wheels in the back, or well, the wheels in general. So that's one of the things that I learned during customs. I'll show you on the bottom of this pink customs, and Hewitt's told me about this. With the glue, I've been gluing cars together, and I'd like to step up to doing some screws, but when glue, I actually looked this up, and it was on this forum talking about customizing Hot Wheels. When glue doesn't have enough airflow, it gives off that haze. So the wheels got hazed up, the bottom of the base got hazed up, and so I'd like to probably just alleviate that and start screwing cars together. That's the next thing I want to teach myself. But I want to talk about this car that I built. This is the Jacked Rabbit. I built it based off of the Romping Rabbit and the Rough Rabbit Matchbox castings, and I, didn't want to pay $15 a piece for those castings, so I figured, well, I could probably build something just as cool for less. So, Mark I Rabbit casting, a two-door car instead of a four-door car. I used my vinyl cutter to try to make some stuff, so I wrote out Jacked, and then I took the Rabbit logo. This car was a lot of trial and error on a lot of different things. This was before I started stripping cars using Citrus Strip. Shout out to B's Diecast Fantasyland for recommending that. Working in restoration, I've used tons of different aircraft paint removal and industrial paint strippers, and quite honestly, I just don't care for them. But Citrus Strip does help to get these castings cleaned up. Just take an old toothbrush and wipe it off, and use some water. And then I've been using green Scotch-Brite, which I believe is about 600 grit. And then quadruple aught steel wool, 4 zeros. And that pretty much gives it a shiny surface for you to paint to. Then you could prime them, or if the color's dark enough, sometimes I just go right over them. This Ballet Pink, very transparent color, so it's a little transparent. I think on the bug, maybe you could see that there's a heavy spot right there. But with this car, I didn't even strip it. So, and I didn't want to lose this front tampo, so I taped it off, and I hit it with a rattle can that was red caliper paint that a buddy had left behind. And then I cleared it. It was both a Rust-Oleum product, and the roof started to wrinkle. So I actually just prepped with 400 grit and then green Scotch-Brite before I painted over these cars. And you didn't really see any of the scratches, but I got that wrinkle in the roof. I sanded it out what I thought was good enough, but then when I painted the white over it, it still had like chunks underneath it. And then I used red Sharpie to touch it up. I used a fine point Sharpie to outline the the sunroof, and that was kind of a mistake as well. I used toothpicks to make the roof rack. And the orange peel, after the clear, and I think it was a lot of the red paint underneath, like, that's just absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. So, am I upset? No, because this is one of my first customs, and it's something that I learned on. It's a Jacked Rabbit. It's meant to be an off-road car, and so, you know, if it looks a little rough, so be it. Why would I be upset? Now, I'm going to try to get it the best I can in the light, but what I did, and I'm going to take this wheel off. These wheels were something that I ordered. They're about $5 a set, and I didn't glue them to the brass axle because I was afraid of them not being able to roll. But what I did is I glued that brass axle to paper clips. So I used paper clips to make this lift kit. And ultimately, I got a base off of a different car here. I slid the paper clips into where the axles go into, and it made kind of like a triangular lift. There was a video, and I believe it was by Bare Metal Hot Wheels. Like, if you search up how to do a Hot Wheels lift kit, it'll be one of the first videos that pops up. But it was actually an active suspension. I believe I've seen Shorter's Diecast just use that same design. Very patient, tedious process. And the active part was meant to tie the two together so that it would spring. It would go in and out. I could not for the life of me get that to work, so I just called it quits. And I made just a static lift, so it's permanently lifted. And, you know, it didn't come out too bad. The rear wheels are off, but because I didn't glue the wheels to the axles, I was afraid of them not rolling. But it does have some rolling resistance. Like, if I had all four tires on and tried pushing it, it wouldn't really roll. I know a lot of customizers, it's a big thing for them that these things actually roll. But, you know, for a static piece, for something that's going to go on my, customs display shelf, I'm perfectly fine with it. Maybe someday in the future, I make another lifted rabbit and do something a little different. Also, I cleared over the vinyl and it's still peeled up past the clear. So that was, another thing. But hey, at the end of the day, the whole point of doing these customs, at least in my eyes, is trial and error. I mean, this was before I ever stripped cars using rattle can. This car, and I need to do touch up on the white, is a replica of my personal car, and I use this with color-matched, water-based automotive refinishing paint. Absolutely overkill for a $1 diecast, but I have the ability to do that, mix it, spray it. So that's what I did. Some of these cars I did when I painted my daily driver using Black Magic Pearl. So this is a real Volkswagen automotive refinishing color that I use to spray these die-casts up. So, just something cool that I have the ability to do. So I encourage everyone out there who is in the die-cast community, who's thinking about getting into customs, to just go ahead and give it a try. And for those of you already doing customs, I've been watching so many of you guys, I can't even begin to list all the people I'm thankful for their tips, their advice. I've emailed people, left comments, had some great conversations with many of you, and you guys are very encouraging. So just to give back to the community, I encourage all of you to try it, and I appreciate you guys for watching, learning about how I built the Jacked Rabbit, how I built I call this thing the mean bugger or fast bugger. I don't know. I made a short of it or something. And I'm excited to do some more stuff. I will show this. And I already broke the blade, but I have more. This was my grandfather's jeweler saw. And so maybe you might see something cool with this in the future. Pushing the envelope to the next step. So Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.